Okay, so hopefully, let me get close enough to the mic. There we go. So hopefully you can see the screen. Totally no technical difficulties. Yeah. Anyways, today we're gonna be solving systems of equations. SOM. Those are very squished letters, but you get the idea. We're gonna be solving systems of equations. And what are systems of equations? They're these things. And as you can see, we have two of them, okay? And we're gonna be solving them two different ways. You can solve them algebraically, or you can solve them graphically. But we're gonna do algebraically first because I don't really like solving them graphically. But we're gonna do it anyways. It might be a little scary, but you don't have to worry about it. We're gonna work through it. Yeah. So first thing to note right here is that we have one, a quadratic, and we have two, a linear function. Yeah, it's a linear function. So what's the first step to solving these? Are we going to solve them individually? Are we going to do the quadratic first? Are we going to do this linear problem first? No, we're not going to do any of that. What we're actually going to do is we're going to set them equal to each other. So let's write that down. So it's going to be x squared plus 4x plus 3. And it should look something like this, okay? That's only the first half. And then when I mean set it equal to each other, you literally just write down an equal sign and you put in the rest of this. 2x plus 3. It's that simple. It's that simple. Yes. And then you can kind of just get rid of the rest of this. We have our finished product right here. So anyways, what we're going to do is we're going to try and make it equal 0. Well, we're going to make it equal 0. We're not going to try. We're triers. Well, we're doers. We're not triers. Other way around. So anyways, what is the first thing we're going to do? We're going to subtract this 3 from both sides. Why do we subtract this 3 from both sides? Because we want to attempt to get this side to equal 0. That's like our whole goal here. So when we do that, we get x squared plus 4x. We don't have this 3 anymore because 3 minus 3 and then minus 3 again is going to give us 0. So we'll wait for that. We'll just leave this blank since it's 0. And then equals 2x. And then we don't write the 3 because we don't have the 3 anymore. So now we have something that'll look like this. It should look a lot cleaner than this, but don't worry. So now the next thing we're going to do, we still have this 2x. What are we going to do with the 2x? Well, we're going to do the same thing. Well, not with the 3. We're going to subtract 2x from both sides so we can get 0. Subtract 2x, which is going to give us x squared plus 2x now, since 4 minus 2 is 2. We still have this blank space right here. And then equals 0. And there we go. That's half of it already solved. I am going to get rid of most of this because I need space, but you get the idea. So anyways, now that we have this, what are we gonna do with this? As you can see, it is kind of in quadratic form without, the 0. We kind of need that. That's gonna be for later though. We still do need that 0. But the next thing we're gonna do is we're going to pull our ABCs. Our A, our B, and our C. This is important because the way we're gonna do when we say algebraically, the way we're gonna do this is literally algebraically. What we learned in Unit 1. So our A is this mysterious 1. It's invisible, you just can't see it. X is actually 1, so 1x, something like that. And then our B is going to be 2. And then our C. So as you can see, we don't really have a C. and it's kind of weird like that. For some reason, I don't know why they gave us I don't know why we got all of this without the C. But you know, Beckers can't be choosers. So this is going to be 0. Now, let's get rid of this just for a moment. So now, we're going to put this into our... quadratic formula. What is our quadratic formula? I'll tell you, it is... Sing the song. Actually, no, don't sing the song. The song is terrible. Why is this... Oh, it's white. Sorry about that. The song is negative b plus or minus square root, or just squared, b squared minus 4 times a, very weird looking a, okay, and times c, all over 2a. There we go. All over 2a. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug in our a, we're going to plug in our b, and we're going to plug in our c for this. So we can get rid of all of this. And then we're going to write it. So we're going to get negative 2 plus or minus square 2 squared minus 4 times 1 and times, oh, not a, we're not timesing it by a, we're timesing it by 0. Let me make that extremely clear. And then the line is squiggly line, 2 times 1. Simple enough. So now that we have all of this, let's work at fixing this up, because it's kind of atrocious, but you know, we're masters at this. We're Algebra 2 students, so obviously we know what we're doing. So firstly, let's start off with this 2 squared. That is going to give us, well, let me write all of this down so we can work it in a new equation actually. That is going to give us 4, and then minus 4 times 1 times 0. 0 times 1 is going to give us 0, and 0 times 4 is also going to give us 0, because any number times 0 is going to be 0. So that'll be, or plus, no, it's minus. Don't mind this mistake. I didn't do that. Yeah, that's not big enough. There we go. Yeah, never existed. Anyways, that is gonna be 0. And then 2 times 1, that is gonna give us 2. Or you could, like, leave it, but it's still gonna be 2. And this is gonna actually come out to be 4. If you want to go ahead and do that in another problem, but we'll save time, and that is going to give you 4. So there we go. So we're gonna have something that looks a little bit like this. And then once we simplify this 4 in here by itself, that is going to come out and be 2. Why do we do this? because we need it down to its simplest form, and that is going to be this. Once we simplify this as well, it's kind of like the second step to the last step before you get to the last step, if that makes sense. I'm sure it does. Totally makes sense. Anyways, time for mini equations. So when I say mini equations, this plus or minus, since we learned back in last semester, you're gonna have two equations, basically one with addition and one with subtraction. So -2, don't forget the negative. -2 plus 2 over 2. And then for the second one, it's a huge negative, and that's a huge 2. -2 over 2. What is that going to equal? Wow! This -2 minus 2 is going to give you -4. Yeah, -4. Just have to think about that for a minute. And that over 2 is going to give you -2. And then, well, let me make that red actually. That is going to be our answer for 1. And then let's do the other side. Quickly change that back. This simplified, -2 plus 2, that is going to give you 0. And 0 over 2, that is just going to give you 0 since we can't do much with that. So, well, let me write this. That'll be 0 over 2. And then that will give you 0. And let me write that also in red. And then there you have it. Your 2 points are 0 and -2. Boom. And that is all you need for the algebraic type of work that we do in Algebra 2. Now moving on to solving this graphically. It's gonna totally be okay. Totally got this. Totally. I think. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna graph this system of equation. And as you can see, I already worked out this little number line. If it's kind of a little not straight, but that's okay. No, it isn't. You really want a straight number line for these, going on up, but it is a-okay for now. And let me just pick a different color because I'm actually gonna need that to see. And so basically here we have x squared plus 4x plus 3, and then 2x plus 3, and then this, we're gonna get to that in a minute. But anyways, so how are we gonna do this? Well, first you want to graph your line. So here's the thing about these. As I mentioned before, and when we were doing the algebraic way, here we have our quadratic, and here we have our linear equation. And when I say linear equation, one of these is going to be a line. It's going to be a straight line. It's going to be this one. And the other is going to be a parabola. It's going to be this little U, okay? And there we have that. So when I say we need to graph the line, we need to graph this first. So how are we going to do that? Well, it's a good thing you asked. So first we're going to start off with our y-intercept, and our y-intercept is always going to be this number at the end. Why? Because this little thing, or this little the song, this little equation is song, y equals, oh wait, no, that's the wrong side for the equals. Y equals mx plus b. Yeah. And yeah, I don't have the y, but y equals mx plus b. So we're gonna start with plotting the intercept, and what I mean by that, our b is going to basically be at 3, right? So this is gonna be our 0. Maybe I can make like a box for this. Yeah, this is gonna be 0, and this is 1, 2, 3. So we're gonna start off at our 3 right here, and then we're going to go up 2 and over 1. So that'll be 1, 2, and then here. Now that might be a little off just because the number line is how it is, but it is a-okay. We'll have an option to fix that. We'll have an option to fix that later. Yeah, definitely practice drawing straight lines when working on one of these. Straight lines will save you. So, if it's not straight enough, we can always fix this up later. That is as straight as it's going to get, unfortunately. So here we have our 2 points plotted. That is good. All right, that is very good. Now let's start working on our parabola for, well, graphing it on the same axis. And that's why I have this over here. So you see this little, wait, that should be somewhere else. Yeah, that should be like that. Anyways, right, so we have negative b over 2a. So when we do negative b over 2a, basically we're plugging in these numbers, and when we're plugging in these numbers right here. Why these numbers and not these numbers? First, let me explain that. It's because we're specifically graphing our parabola. This one is just going to be our line, and this one is going to be our parabola. This right here is going to be our parabola, and this is our line. So we want to use this one, not this one, okay? And for our b, we basically plug that in, and that would be negative 4, and then 2 times 1, which is our a, which is going to give us negative 2. I did already have that worked out because yeah, I already had that worked out. So you're welcome. Right. So anyways, now that we have our negative 2, let's hold on to that, because we actually have to put this into an equation so we get what we need, because we actually have to find our vertex now. The vertex is also very important. Basically, we're going to be substituting the value into the equation to determine our x and y coordinate of the vertex. Yeah, I think that was right. So we're going to substitute that into this, and I could write it down, but you get the gist. So it's just going to be negative 2 squared plus 4 times negative 2 plus 3, which I can already tell you is going to look something like, let's see, negative 2 squared. That is going to, well, you'd have to put the parentheses around that. Let me also explain that real quick, because that is very important. Make sure you have the parentheses in these brackets. That is also very, 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 very important, okay? That's what I should state first. Anyways, so negative 2 squared, that is going to give us 4. Yeah, 4. And then plus 4 times negative 2, that is going to give us negative 8. And then plus 3. So then we add these all together, and we'll basically get negative 1. So, that'll look like negative 2 and negative 1. So now we're going to plot that on the line. And basically that's going to tell us where our little line plot thingy should be. So that should be it right here. This is negative 2, and this is negative 1. So as you can see, my arrow is kind of like not touching. And that's what I mean by, if you do mess up the line, it's okay, because we can fix that, because now we know exactly where it should be. Let's fix this. Try not to erase too much of it. And then let's replot the line. There. Let's replot the line. And it goes straight through here now. Straight enough. And then let's also add our little line just to make sure. Add these dots just because, to tell us we're somewhere in this region. Okay? Because that is important. anyways, now that we have all of that figured out, I wish I would have spaced this out a little more. Oh my gosh. Anyways, now that we have the vertex figured out, so let's work on x and y intercepts. And here we're gonna have to do a little bit more work. So let's take this and this. I'm just gonna circle this in because I do want this. And let's also box off this. Totally not trying to fix everything. Okay. Now we're gonna work on our third step, x and the y. So basically, for x-intercept, we're going to determine the x-intercept by letting y equal 0 to solve the equation, because we still need to plot all of these points. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to take our equation, and y is basically going to equal 0. And what I mean by that is you can have this equation and set it to equal y, but we're going to set it to equal 0. So let me write that out, and hopefully I can do it a little bit quicker. Plus 4x plus 3, and there you go. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to take your x, which is going to be 2 numbers, and we're actually going to do this in pairs. So fill this in, right? And then we have x and x, and we're going to take our 1 and our 3. Why are we taking our 1 and our 3? Because I said so. And we don't need the 4. So there we go. And then since we have our plus minus, wait. Yeah. You got a sign. And then we want to get x to equal 0. So, yeah, we want to get x to equal 0. So we're going to subtract 1, and we're also going to subtract 3. Yes, and that is how it works. And then you're going to be left with -1. And then since our y is equal to 0, for the x and y, you're going to write 0. And then you're going to have 3 0. So then you can plot this, and it'll be on this side. So you'll have something right here, and you'll have something right here. Hopefully that's not too close to each other. But yeah, it's gonna be in these points. And then we just work on this parabola. We'll work on the bottom of it. We'll work on this part first. Okay, and now let's do the other side. Sorry. And now let's do the other side when our x is equal to 0. That'll be our y-intercepts. We're determining the y-intercept by letting x equal 0 and then solving the equation. So, basically, that one is going to be a little less than that, and then I took up all of the room right here. Okay. So, we're going to have our y equal, very strange looking y. We're going to have our y, and we're going to substitute everything in here, all of these x's, with 0, because, again, they equal x. So, and then we're going to have this. Actually, let me parentheses. Those are important. No mind. And let me get rid of this, since we actually don't need that. Hold on. Don't need it right now, at least. And then we're going to add 3. And there we go. That's one part of it done. So when doing all of the solving, 0 squared, that'll give us 0 plus 4 times 0, which will give us 0. And then 0 plus 3 is going to give us 3. So again, our x is going to be 0. So when we have x and y, x is going to be 0, and our y is going to be 3. So that means we can plot another one. And that's basically going to be, that'll be 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that'll be this right here, even though we've kind of already plotted it. So, Yeah. There we go. Should look something like this. Once you've plotted all of the numbers and everything else you need, it should look like that. But the spot the spot they connect is gonna be right here. Actually, let me use a different color for that. And also can't see that one. Can't really see this, but it's fine. There we go. That'll be the spot they interconnect. So yeah, with all of that being said, here and here. Here. There we go. Here and here. So now that we know that, yeah, that's basically it. And then if you want to basically go over your answers and check, you can do that. But the points they interconnect is going to be negative. Oh, you can't see that. It's gonna be -2 and -1, as well as 0, 3.